Hi, I'm Jason. This will be the demonstration of how to set up the behemecloth sculpture. I do recommend possibly having a spanner. That could help, but other than that you don't really need anything additional other than a ladder, obviously. So let's begin. When you see the behemecloth, it'll probably be in a big pile of bits like this. This will be the first bit you will need. This is the base. Just lay it on the ground where you plan for it to stand. If it needs to be chopped up, you can get some bits of wood or something to make it even. But it should be pretty straightforward, just putting the base down. And keep in mind the behemecloth sits back this way, so you'll want to keep space behind it. Okay. This is the first and most important part of the behemecloth. It's the right leg. To fit it on, so I'll just bring it close to the camera so you can see. When you get it, hopefully this part of the leg, this beam here, will be inserted in there, but if it's not, I'll just show you. It does come out. That one doesn't, but if you need to insert it, there's a little slot where you can take this beam, and it's a bit awkward because you can't exactly see, but you just sort of find the right angle, push it in, and it's in the leg. Then you take the leg like so, and first step, yeah, you might want to get up, will be to insert the foot onto this This would probably be easier with two people, but this beam should just slot into the beam there, which we should get right now. And this back part slots right into here, this little square at the back. So these are the first 2 points. You slide the front foot down the front beam, the back part into the back beam, having slotted it into the leg. And then the next part of this is connecting this little bit. And for that you'll need a couple of bolts, and you'll just need to line it up. You can just sort of push it around, push the bolts through to the other side. And there's 2 bolts. Might take a bit of fiddling about, but they should both go in. There we go. So once you've inserted the bolts, then take the 2 nuts and okay, so that's when you might need your spanner to tighten the bolts, but this is the basic setup. You have your one point of connection here, point of connection there, and point of connection at the back. If it hasn't slid completely down, you might want to grab a hammer, which I don't have, so I'm not going to worry about, but you could just hit this part with a hammer a few times just to make sure it's completely slid as far down as it can. Okay. Step 2, the other leg. part is the second leg. Fitting this in is a lot easier. It simply slides into a little joint in here. As you can see, it's got three, if you can just look at the leg, it's also got these three little wires which will help fasten it in there once it's there. So before you slide it in, you'll want to first put this part of the leg into the little slot, hold it in place, then slide it up here, slide it as far in as you can. This might need some adjusting, feet and mucking about, but that's basically in now. And then once it's slid into the slot, each one of these can hook into a little red, whatever you call it, little red loop. So, and there's three of them, so just go around to each of them and loop it in. That will keep it attached. So as you can see, we've looped the three in here, and then just sort of, pull the fabric so it looks good. But yeah, that's step 2 or 3. Now, step 4, I recommend setting up the torso on the ground first and then taking it all up as one piece, because it's quite hard to put the arms on at the height that it gets to. So I'll show you how to set up the torso. Similar to the legs, just stand the torso upright like so, and each arm just slots in much like the legs. So this one would be the left arm. We'll slot this one right in. And there's also a loop here that you should be able to see that you can use to just sort of fasten it in, but honestly, I don't think it matters too much for the arm. And then just make sure it looks neat. And then the other arm, it works in the exact same way. Slot it in here. We won't bother with the loop there. And the last step for the torso is, of course, the head. Just goes on like so. Now this is the hardest part. This next step is the hardest part. We've assembled our torso here. And the reason the next step is the hardest part is because it requires some upper body strength. So hopefully there'll be someone who can hold the weight of the torso as it is. It's not super heavy, it's just awkward because of the arms dangling about.
It's pretty heavy.
Yeah. Or maybe you can figure out a way to do it with 2 people, I don't know. But what you want to do is place a ladder behind the legs, and then get someone to take the torso. Best to hold it from behind. And just sort of grip it in there. And take it up the ladder. Like so. And it is quite heavy and awkward, so just be mindful. Now, once you get up here, there are, as you can see, these two prongs on the left and right. They slot into 2 prongs on the left and right of the legs. Now, you might need to squeeze them a little bit so that they fit in properly. So, there we go. And once they're slotted in, they should just slide straight down. And then, much like the legs, the torso also has now 4 of these red little hoops that we can fasten onto the legs to keep them together. But once that's done, so you could go around each corner of the torso and fasten it, but so say